the bottom of it with your host, Joshua Moriarty.
Hello, welcome back. Episode 52 of The Bottom of It with me, your host, Joshua Moriarty. Pleasure to have you here. How you doing? Good to be back. Feels like it's been a little minute since the last episode. I think it's been nearly a month. Sheesh, I don't usually want to go that long, but I got to LA about a month ago and I've been quite busy and just didn't get a moment to finish an episode. Things have slowed down now this week, so I'm back into bottom of it action, taking care of business. I flew to LA to meet the Miami Horror Gang as we had a show at a sweet festival in Mexico City called Corona Capital. I had such an amazing time. It was fun to be back with the Miami Horror crew, as they've been touring without me a bit this year while I've been on my rock and roll sabbatical. The show was a ripper. Also got to watch some of the other bands on the bill. Franz Ferdinand, bloody slayed it. If you ever get a chance to see them live, do it. I promise you won't be disappointed. I saw the Strokes too. They were good but a little less personable, maybe would be the way to describe it. It was funny to see two of the big rock bands from the early 2000s era play back to back and see how completely different their approaches to playing a live show are. The Strokes just play the record and it sounds just like it. The guitar tone's incredible. They sound amazing, but with absolute minimal banter in between the songs, and they basically sort of just walked off stage without a thank you, whereas Alex Capranos from Franz Ferdinand was completely engaged. He was speaking Spanish. They jam their songs, they extend things, they play around, have that live flair. I think Franz Ferdinand made me feel loved, whereas the Strokes kind of made me feel resented. Interesting. Anyway, yes, in LA, currently head back to Melbourne in a few days. I was involved with my good friend Mariki's annual Be Kind holiday benefit gig, taking care of the lead bass and band leader duties for that. We had some excellent guests this year. Got to play with Tim Heidecker and Weird Al Yankovic, which was very, very silly. They performed a song called Father Christmas by the Kinks, and if you don't know it, check it out. I think it's my new favorite Christmas song. All right, enough me. Now for today's guest, it's Luke Buda from New Zealand band The Phoenix Foundation. And The Phoenix Foundation are one of my all-time favorite bands, I reckon. I bloody love these guys. So much so that I actually interviewed both Luke Buda and the other principal songwriter of the band, Samuel Flynn Scott, and that's going to be episode 53. So it's a Phoenix Foundation double headline, double shot, double feature. For those who don't know the band, let me try to describe the music. I was thinking about this. I guess the best way I can think of it is if French band Air, who I also really, really love, a French band Air were actually from New Zealand, and they were influenced by Neil and Tim Finn and sung with New Zealand accents a little bit instead of French ones. Maybe that's a good way to describe it. These guys write brilliant songs. Their instrumentation is impeccable. They always have these lush, sparkly sounds floating around, swishes and whooshes. There's tinges of Kiwiana, which is like Americana, but from New Zealand. The lyrics can be pretty dark and scathing at times, but then there's some hopefulness and playfulness. It's kind of like life, really, isn't it? Yeah, I just think these guys are bloody awesome, and I wanted to share them with everyone, and I really just wanted to get to chat to them, actually, so it was really just a selfish move. So yes, there's 6 albums into their career, currently working on album number 7. All of their records are fantastic. I've been following their career very closely since picking up their second album, Pegasus. Oh my God, Pegasus? It's Pegasus, Josh. Pegasus. Back in 2005. So I sat down with Luke Buda in Wellington just before I came to LA, and we got chatting. Made it through a couple of cups of tea, English breakfast or Earl Grey, can't quite remember. It was such a treat to get to chat to him after all these years of being a fan. We obviously know a bunch of the same people, but I just never met before. It was great to finally connect. We talked about Metallica quite a bit, heavy metal and new metal, what comes out of the speakers versus what the story of a band is, and how that can affect a band's career. It's not just about what the music sounds like, there's so much else involved. We talk about the unlimited options available to musicians now when creating and writing, and how that ability to make any kind of sound can actually be stifling to the creative process. We talk about the scoring work that him and Sam and Conrad from the Phoenix Foundation have done and have been doing. They've done most of Taika Waititi's films, including Eagle vs. Shark Boy, Hunt for the Wilder People. Yeah, me and Luke covered a lot, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen, without further chit-chat. Episode 52 with Luke Buda. Enjoy. recording. Say something into the 212.
Yes, hello, 212.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay.
We're live.
All right.
It's
happening.
There's a picture of the Beastie Boys in the toilet.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. What do you think of the Beastie Boys? Did you ever...
Sounds like you don't like the Beastie Boys.
I think I don't. I'm not sure. I was talking about it with my bandmate. They're like one of those ones that maybe you needed to be there to like more, and I don't feel like I was, even though I sort of was.
So, are you saying no to Sabotage then?
That's an undeniable tune.
Because you can't really say no to Sabotage. It's
No.
sort of like it's one of the most pure excitement of music at its simplest, because it's just... I loved and probably still do Ill Communication, but that's the only album I really got into. And that's because I was there at the time, and I was like, "There's a new album. Oh, I'm going to go and check it out." And I was like, "Okay."
And then after that's the one with Intergalactic on it,
and it wasn't as good as Ill Communication. Ill Communication's got Sure Shot, which is a really good track. Sabotage. It's got the one with Q-Tip on it. Shit, what's that one?
I got the Ill Communication. I heard it the other night.
My belt. I got the Ill Communication.
that one is good. I went to the Chemical Brothers last night, and they had lots of Q-Tip because he did heaps of songs with them.
Where were the Chemical Brothers? Oh,
Melbourne.
Oh, you've just arrived today.
Yeah. I just got in. Okay. Yeah, they played at Melbourne.
Yeah, well, they sure as hell didn't play in Wellington.
Why not though?
I think it's just too far. People don't make enough money.
Would they have done Auckland and then they just didn't come here?
Did they go to Auckland?
I don't know. I'm out of touch. Look.
I think it's like Auckland's. It's sort of like Australia's the end of the world, and then for most of those types of people,
I feel like they're big enough to come here and do a good show, aren't they? The brothers.
Well, especially because there's only two of them, right? So you're probably not talking about a massive.
Well, this show was.
The show's big.
The show's massive.
Of course it is. Yeah.
They had two giant robots that lifted off the ground, but only for about a minute each, and they probably would cost them like $20,000 to get them everywhere with them.
To lift off the ground for a bit.
Yeah, I like that they did that.
So it's kind of like their version of Iron Maiden's Eddie.
Yeah, I guess. What would you do if money was no object for you guys? What would be your... Would you have robots, fireworks?
Shit, man. Yeah. Probably not robots. I don't know. Maybe robots. I don't know. Definitely seeing a really awesome show is cool. But you kind of need a level... You either need a level of success, or you need to be prepared to just be...
Lose lots of money for ages.
Yeah, or just work even more like insanely than you already are to sort of sort out the show. I'm just like, at this stage, I think the last tour we did, we had this huge projector, 100 kilograms or something, and I was just like, why the fuck am I loading this thing in and out?
You're loading it too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Around New Zealand. Yeah, shit, I'm like, I want to do this. Like, I don't even care anymore. You know, just like a couple of moody lights. I don't really care, you know. I don't know, we're not really... Well, I'm being really contrary here, eh? I love a good show. As in big lights, all of that, wow factor. But we've never really had that. And visually, so I can't really be bothered even thinking about it so much. Because it just seems like it'd be a real hassle.
Yeah, you need the person helping you do it the whole time.
You just need the budget. I remember people coming down from the Beyonce show.
Who's got budget anymore, though?
Well, Beyonce, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, the Beyonce show was amazing. And I was like, well, no shit. She's got enough money to just go, I want to have the coolest show of all the shows. Who is the coolest person that will make the coolest show? That person. Okay, well, I want that. It's kind of like, not surprised.
That's what the Chemical Brothers felt like, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Where they obviously are at that level where they'd get the best. They got all the visuals of dancers and everything. I guess they've always done that with their music videos.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it felt like they spent a fortune on it, but they're getting away with it.
You seen the Flaming Lips?
Yeah, I have a few times. They kind of built their way to that, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's like they just added a little bit every time. But then it was just this ta-da moment at that big day out. Like 2000 and what are we talking? 2?
We're talking Yoshimi, right? That's when they sort of exploded.
Yeah, with the Do You Realize on that big day out, then they were have you seen the Flaming Lips?
Yeah.
Show. I guess there's some sort of commitment where you just go, right, we're going to put the extra money in, hope for the best that people love this, and this becomes our thing. Because I feel like it wasn't like the record was huge. It was just this... Because people weren't... It's not like people were listening to them all the time or anything. Maybe? I don't really know.
I mean, I was really into that record.
Right.
But I don't really know what... I don't know if I speak for everyone. I was really into it that summer.
Yeah.
I was on a road trip with my girlfriend and we were listening to that. And then we got to the big day out and they played. And that was kind of cool. It was like the culmination of a bit of a build-up to seeing them. And the Mars Volta played that year too, which was pretty awesome.
I was more in that direction, I think.
Yeah.
I think my acid had worn off by the time.
Oh, yeah.
I'd saved it for the Volta and then the Flaming Lips, because it would have been good either way.
What about Metallica, man? Did you see that? It was the Metallica year, because I remember watching Metallica and saying, we've got to go see the Flaming Lips, but I just have to see For Whom the Bell Tolls. And then they played it, which made my old metal heart happy. And then we left to go and see the Flaming Lips.
Well, Betcha Duper was on at the same time as Metallica.
Oh.
It must have gone them and then Flaming Lips. So I watched most of Betcha Duper because I didn't really care about Metallica and I love those.
You have no respect, do you, for those?
I guess I didn't really... I was like, all my friends were in Betcha Duper, so I had to support the boys.
Yeah.
And they were really good as well. That band was always excellent.
Right.
And then I think I just hadn't grown up. I grew up as a new metalhead, not a metalhead.
Right, yep.
How old are you, Luke?
40.
Yeah, I'm 36. I think
it's funny.
For 4 years.
That's probably enough. Yeah. That's enough to be like, instead of Metallica, to probably be more like Deftones.
Yeah, absolutely. Deftones, Limp Bizkit, Korn.
Yeah, Korn. I remember the first album and being quite excited by it.
I think Luke Bench told me that he had Korn tattooed and not tattooed, like shaved into the back of his head at high school.
Man, that would be quite a collection of tattoos that Luke Bench had if he had the Korn one as well as the other one.
He was actually going to get the Korn one. He kept talking about it, but I don't think he ever... He's got the Gandalf one, doesn't he? He's still got the Gandalf? Yeah, he's still got the Gandalf.
He had to hide, he got that before The Lord of the Rings was getting filmed here, and he had to hide it in shame for a long time, because I think maybe the unique, ironic effect was all of a sudden taken from him.
I feel like he's...
But Metallica, I just got to say, the thing, like my partner Sarah, she was like, the most fascinating thing, first of all, there's like armies of Metallica fans, but then there was a subset which was like, there was literally an army of wheelchair-bound Metallica fans, and for some reason that was quite fascinating. They had, obviously they had a access platform for them, but it was just like an interesting that it was like, there was just such an intense Metallica thing. There was actually like, I don't know, like 100 dudes on wheelchairs that were there for Metallica, and I don't know. I don't know if I'd seen that many people on. This is potentially not going to go down that well, but it was just
don't be too.
Just kind of interesting like at the time. It's like, whoa!
You're allowed to be fascinated by a bunch of people. Do they have a collective name for when you have a lot of people in wheelchairs together?
Who love Metallica? Who are all wearing Metallica t-shirts?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, and also James Hetfield was so weird. He was just kept on saying shit like, "We are Metallica, and you are Metallica. We're all Metallica."
He was straight out of rehab. That was like the first.
Yeah, because he's just back in rehab now.
I would just, I know. I wanted it. That's a fascinating one. Because that would have been just after some kind of monster, right? When they did that to it. I remember him looking... He seemed like he didn't quite know who he was. And it's like that in the documentary when he comes out, right? And then he seemed like he'd been so... I listened to that Joe Rogan interview that he did a few years ago.
Was he quite good in it? Or?
Yeah, it just seems like he's kind of beaten his addiction and he's quite well now. And then he just relapsed after 20 years or something?
Yeah,
it's a bit sad.
Shit, man. They were probably like 17 when they started playing gigs like quite a lot, and they just got quite big. I just imagine like if you're if you kind of get that wave like they did, you wouldn't really actually have time to sort yourself out. You'd just be like on tour, then doing a record, then on tour, then doing a record. And always
it
having
made
to
sense.
be fucking heavy.
When you went into rehab the first time, that made sense. But then now I'm like, wow, it just makes me sad thinking for the people who quit drinking, he would have been sober. That would have been 2000. There's been like 15 years of sobriety, and then to kind of...
Well, who knows when he relapsed.
Yeah,
really.
you don't know, do you? Because they keep it hidden for ages.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking 4 years ago, and it's been fine. It's not really that hard. I don't think I had that much of a problem, but I just decided to. But then you're like, wait, in 10 years' time, am I going to just like fuck my life up and become I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm trying.
He was my
to
hope,
not
you know?
drink. Right. So basically...
Not really, but a wee bit. It's nice.
He's betrayed you.
No, I would never say that. He's given us enough riffs.
He owed you.
Do you say you're not drinking as much?
No, I just need to not drink for a while, I think. Not that I'm like punishing it, or it just makes me feel quite bad.
Yeah, it gets really hard.
Like one beer makes me feel like shit the next day. But
Just
the problem
one
is
now.
I love the beer.
Interesting. Just beer? That's your go-to?
I don't. It's my favorite. It's the thing. It's my go-to. Yeah, for sure.
I think I miss whiskey the most. Because it just powers you up.
Yeah, it's delicious. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I think it's the energy, more than it's the fuel that you get from drinking it.
I like whiskey rage.
Yeah,
that's what you miss.
Yeah, I like that. I like the power. It's like when we were on tour, we used to go, power up, boys. And then you just fill up an icy glass of thing, and then you do that, and then you go on stage. And it was...
See, you've just displayed the reality, like that if you're in a band, especially with all dudes, it's like a sports team, isn't it?
I think, well, there's that, but I don't... Yeah, there's a huge history of drinking in the music business with the boys.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's
With
probably...
everyone, probably.
Yeah, probably with everyone. It's changing now, though, isn't it?
But that's a generational thing, right? They just really kind of, I don't know, they just seem really focused.
Yeah, because they got to do their Instagrams and stuff, so they don't...
They don't have time.
They don't have time. You don't have time to be an alcoholic now. I mean, I don't feel like I had as much time also, but I had more time than the newer generation of people do too. Probably. I don't know, you had people to help you a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I wasn't on Instagram when I was drinking lots.
well, that's probably quite good. And you weren't on Instagram when you were a teenager either. Fuck
No.
that shit. Jesus.
How old you kid? 11, you said.
Well, but my older one's 14, and he's
Right.
on Instagram, and he goes to high school.
Does it freak you out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all right.
Yeah.
It does freak me out when I think about what I got up to when I was 14.
Is it just that
Dozens of DB Buda in the town belt.
Town Bell?
Yeah, they were $9.50.
Fuck.
You know?
It's interesting being back in Wellington. There's lots of things I've forgotten, and then you just drive around for a while. And yeah. Even just things like that, the Town Bell.
How long have you been away? How long since last time you were here?
Last time I was here was probably 3 years ago, but I haven't lived here for 16 years or something.
Yeah.
So it's been a little like that every time, and more things are fading. It doesn't take long to get it back, obviously.
And so, like, probably every time that you go through the town, you're like, oh, there's the Basin Reserve. Look at that magnificent ground.
Beautiful place.
That's right.
I went past Scott's College today.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, my school is... That one makes you feel weird seeing your own school. Especially Scott's College.
Scott's College, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
First 15.
what of it?
Yeah.
Have you lived anywhere else, or you've been in Wellington?
No, well, I was born in Poland.
Right.
But I was 8 when I came here. And I mean, my dad's lived all around the world, but that's since I was 18. So I've only ever been where he is for like 2 months or 3 months, which isn't really living there. Like, I didn't get a job at that place. I didn't really hang out with anyone. I just sort of went to hang out at my dad's house for a bit.
Was Phoenix Foundation ever going to move anywhere?
No.
Right.
I think maybe in 2011 when things when things were looking pretty good in the UK and Europe.
Yeah.
There was a momentary discussion about Berlin.
That's Buffalo time, or
Yeah. So,
Berlin. That was when it was right at probably the beginning of it being cool to be there.
it was probably already. I think it was already
on its way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed nicer than the last time I was there, which was in 2017. It seemed nicer in 2011 than it did in 2017 to me.
What had happened recently?
I don't really know. It just... Maybe I just built up the memory in my mind.
It's funny what you feel and versus when you were there then, what you're going through. The tiny little area around the venue and the hotel that you're staying and shit all affects it.
Yeah, well, that's totally right, because it was like I was 32 and the band was going off in 2011.
Yeah, you were
and
loving
Berlin
it.
was rolling
Yeah.
in 2017. I mean, I was there with my family. That was nice too. And in 2011, we had the band had a month break of touring, and all of our partners came over, and we had a couple of apartments in Berlin, and we just hung out for 2 weeks. And me and my girlfriend just biked around with the kids were in a chariot thing out the back. We just went sort of from beer garden to beer garden and lounged around in the sunshine. It was really nice.
Yeah, these are the
lots
memories.
of mates, you know.
Yeah, you kind of forget as when your bands don't do the things you want and you get older and you're like, oh, this and that didn't happen and blah, blah. Then you go, oh, that was sick. Remember when my band was doing this and we were there and it was awesome? It's very easy to forget the rock and roll good times, don't you reckon?
I think it's not... Well, actually, I don't know about that. I think they're always better when I think of them in the past. I think for me, it's more I forget to cherish the moment
When you're
as
there.
it's happening.
Are you
and then
better?
later on, it's like, oh, fuck, that was actually really great. I was just charging so hard I didn't even sort of notice what was going on.
Are you
I don't
better
know.
at that now?
I don't know.
Did you cherish making your new record that you've just made? Cherish it every
Nah,
moment?
man. Nah, so the new record, so Chris lives in Auckland,
Okay.
drummer, so he's going to move down next year. Actually, he's going to do a master's in music therapy. And Sam moved to Auckland because his wife was finishing her master's. He's actually moved back this weekend.
Right.
We lost the Car Club, which was our studio. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually it's taken longer to realise how shit losing that was than I sort of realised at the time. Just having a base, having a room where all of our gear was set up the whole time. We had recording capability. It was a good sounding room. We had a table tennis table. You know, like after schools, I'd take my kids there to have a jam. You know, put the PA on with some delay on it and get the kids going. All that shit. Smash the drums as hard as they can. And that was good. It was a good place to have a party if you needed to have a place for a party, etc., etc. Anyway, and so this album has just been this crazy mishmash of I'll do a 3-day session at Roundhead where we record some drums and then, I'm going to do some vocals at my house, and at the same time someone else is going to do a bit of percussion at their house and then send the session, and just even...
That's so modern.
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually...
But that's... I hate kind of doing it.
Yeah,
that way.
it hasn't really been that fun.
It doesn't feel like you're making a record where you get the gang together.
Nah, no hanging out.
Yeah.
Just weird. And even just the boring shit like today, amalgamating all the sessions, just making sure that we've got all the tracks that everyone's done, and kind of going, fuck, everyone's hard drives actually just have to be here in case something hasn't copied across, so that if you're
ready for mixing, right?
Yeah. So it's nice. We've got our first rehearsal in about 7 months tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's crazy. We actually went... It was a deliberate hiatus.
When you give up your dreams, you had to give them up for real for a while.
It's been 4 years since that came out, yeah. And we haven't... It's kind of weird. I definitely sort of miss just going to another town and playing some music.
Yeah,
It's
always.
been a couple of years or something, you know?
know.
I mean, we've done a few little festivals here and there, but yeah.
Just the camaraderie of the gang and everything together as well, though, isn't it? Yeah. And the friends that are in those towns, just getting to reconnect with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. the songs for this new one, what's the writing process normally anyway? Whip out the cooey, have a strum.
Yeah, we just like give it a go, just give them a taste. No, it's been quite different for all of them, and it was especially different for Give Up Your Dreams, which was a deliberate attempt to go away from a traditional songwriting approach. And we were so I think there's only a couple of pre-written songs in that, and mostly they're kind of a lot more bandy, whereas this one has been very much songs that have been brought in. Well, Conrad, the sort of secret weapon of the band, he's got a couple of his pieces in there one that I've sang on and one that Sam.
Does he write the melodies for you guys, or he just gives you some sweet chords?
No, well, it depends what. Like Buffalo was originally a Conrad demo, right? And it was like the guitar line. Mm-hmm. So from that, the guitar line, the da-dum, 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 and then da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So that was his, but it was like a minute long.
Yeah.
And he was like, here's this piece. And it was called Schopenhauer, who it turns out is a horrible, horrible philosopher who says things like the woman's brain is not capable of dealing with finances, therefore and Conrad didn't know that about him, and he just thought it was a cool name, Schopenhauer.
It still is a cool name. It's fine.
The other thing
doesn't make him a sexist bigot.
No, but it does make Schopenhauer a sexist bigot.
Yeah, that's fine.
Although he also says things like human existence must be considered an error.
When's Schopenhauer? When's that?
It's either late 19th or early 20th.
I just know the name, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. So that was Buffalo was a band thing too, Sam's melodies and Sam's lyrics, but then this sort of structured it out together. And so this one actually is the most
separate,
kind of separate and pre-recorded songs. Kind of weird, but it's just different. It's just a different vibe. That's fine. I am keen to get, we've been working on it for too long, and I've gotten quite fucking sick of working on it by myself. I've gotten a bit sick of the songs, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they've been around for years already, and I'm quite keen for next year when Chris is in town, finding a band room, and Sam, but Chris has not lived in Wellington the entire time, and maybe having a regular band practice night and just actually just having some jams. Whoa. And coming up with
old school.
Yeah, actually getting in a room together and playing music rather than only ever doing we have to have a rehearsal for a gig. So on this and this day, we will have the rehearsal and the next day is the gig. See you later.
Yeah.
Or, I'm coming to Wellington. I'll stay an extra night so that we can do a drum session.
Mm-hmm. These are the things that happen as the band becomes... Yeah, there's such a huge transition as the years go by.
What, as we move into our legacy phase?
Is that what you're in? Self-label? What is that? This is record number 7?
Yes, record number 7, yeah. I think Horsepower came out in 2004, I think. I don't know.
Horsepower.
We could probably
Do you know that's the only one I never listened to?
Oh, right. Wow.
Because Pegasus is where I started.
Oh, yeah. Seems to be a lot of people's point of
I think I was in
reference.
Wellington when you would have done it, but then I moved to Melbourne and someone gave it to me, and then since then I've been on board every single one and everything. Senior heaps and all that stuff. But
a lot of people like Horsepower. To me, it sounds like, young people working out how to record things and stuff. But, there's probably charm for that for people. It's just hard for me to distance myself from the youthful, from how I feel like.
Maybe I assumed that, and then that's why I didn't bother listening, because I was like, Pegasus, you guys are on. So I went, well, I don't need to hear what them getting there. I heard them when they were there, and now I've been on the journey ever since. But
there's a couple of good ones, I reckon, on it.
I believe you, of course.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Is it essential to your existence? Probably not.
Is the new one?
Especially as there's probably about 100 albums being released every fucking hour of the day now.
Oh, ouch.
There really are, eh? It's quite an intense thing.
Yeah, how do you feel about that when you put a new record out? Did you give up your dreams? I don't know. What was the dream? There's lots of questions in that.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to exist in a bubble anyway, I reckon. So, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what new things I listen to. I mean, I listen to my Spotify discovery, but that's kind of led by what I'm already listening to. Mm-hmm. So I reckon in this last year, what are the new things I would have listened to? I really like the first song on the Ways Blood album.
That song's incredible.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was like, the rest of it, I was like, no, yeah, I can just deal with listening to the first song. I mean, I'm kind of brutal like that, I guess.
There's a couple others.
Andromeda's quite good.
Yeah. There was a few. I made sure I marked them because it's funny that you say that. Yeah, because that for me was like the one of the great albums. But then I went, maybe it's not necessarily a great...
It has a fucking killer first track, which can really set the tone.
And she's brilliant. And I would, but it's not like but I wasn't sure if this is just me becoming old and lame and that a record that probably should be your favorite record of the year you only listen to 3 times. I don't know. I don't know because I think she's so good.
Well, it's
Her
coupled.
voice is beautiful.
It is coupled with the delivery method. I do think that having everything at your fingertips. I mean, this shit's been talked about lots. I mean, it's not, but having endless choice at your fingertips actually drives you a bit insane. Like, I remember when I first opened up Spotify, and I actually think that my brain completely frazzled. I was like, I couldn't listen
just put on Metallica.
Anything. Oh, yeah. Oh, bro, that's all I ever listen to, eh? It's fucking brutal. My lifestyle determines my death style. I've actually got that tattooed on my
fuck you, Luke.
Anus.
Luke Buda's got that.
Yeah, that's right. So I just, like I'm trying to remember the time. I was like, I remember reading about Sparkle Horse, thinking about Sparkle Horse, going down to the record store, listening to Good Morning Spider, not being sure, going back home. A couple of days later, going back to the record store, listening to Good Morning Spider again. And then maybe a week later, deciding that I was going to buy the CD, not being sure of it, listening to it in the car, and then like a month later, loving it, That is never going to happen now, because now it's just like, oh, let's have a quick check out of that. Oh, that was okay. Oh, there's a new something. Oh, here it is. And I'm sort of understanding that's just what's going to happen with our album too.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll make it all the way to the end? Depends. If it real sucks.
I've listened to your albums more than many other people's albums.
Oh, good. You have impeccable taste, obviously.
Obviously. But no, I think, don't you guys have impeccable taste? I don't know. I have. I do. I have listened to you. You guys do something very special.
Oh.
Yeah, you really do. When all of them have come out, I have Fandango I thrashed the shit out of. Give Up Your Dreams, I did the same thing. Yeah. The other ones, I guess, I'd listened to them. I had them on CD, so I would have listened to them even more because it was a different thing. But it is, the music landscape, I suppose, is changing. So it will be
weird.
Yeah, but if it's a band that you love and they don't.
And dude, like sometimes I look at, I go, oh, who's this band from Auckland? And I'll just like have a look, and like they've got like 10 million listens on Spotify, and they're huge. And I've never even fucking heard of them, because I don't even really know what the avenues that the young folk, especially actually the mainstream young folk, what they're actually, how they're actually finding out or being fed.
Can't kids
this
help
stuff?
You? Do they give you?
No, man, I've ruined my kids because I've given them a good knowledge of pop culture history, which has probably not really prepared them for life in their own time. Like, my son Moses came back from the school disco and he said, there wasn't even any disco music. They only played one ABBA song, and I was like, oh shit, what have I done?
That will be cool eventually.
Yeah.
It's tough once he gets to like 20, 21, 22, then that will be cool, I think. Maybe it's just tough as a teenager.
You just got to find the right people, to be honest. I mean, I think he's found them anyway at Wellington High School, but which is a really, progressive, liberal, arty school. Mm-hmm. No, actually, like, I really don't know how it happens. Because I don't even necessarily know how I used to find out about music in the old days. I guess Sam actually would often have Uncut and Mojo, and I'd probably buy music magazines, and I'd go into the record shops.
Yeah, and you had a few friends who were the people who had the connect on the records, for sure.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And it wasn't too overwhelming, though, because it was kind of filtered. And I guess because the record labels, there wasn't that many... And so there really was only so many like professionally recorded records to hear.
Yeah.
There was an alternative scene. Like I think about Air and even seeing the Chemical Brothers. Like you guys were at that time when you would have got a deal, you got to record your music well, and there was only so many bands that actually were available to us to listen to. We are flooded.
I mean, I'm not, I just want to say I'm not, that I'm actually not trying to be like whingy about the fact that I don't know.
Well, you're not drunk, so you're not.
I don't really know yet. I'm not drunk yet. I just don't know. That's all. I mean, I'm not saying like I don't even fucking know what these kids are listening to. I just mean more like I don't really know. What the kids are listening to.
So does music,
how they do it or whatever.
Does not getting new music affect your songwriting? You have less ideas because you're not feeding the beast.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I've had more midlife crisis thoughts with this album and with some of my music than ever before, which I would describe as I've had to actually think about whether I want to, whether I'm like, okay, sorry, this is going to take a while to formulate. I think at this point in time, you can make whatever sounding record that you want on your laptop. You want to get some synths and some drum machines and an amazing 80s reverb on the snare, you can do that. If you'd prefer to do, I don't know, crazy, glitch samples, you can do that. Mm-hmm. If you want to just record a piano and do like the kind of frame of reference is everything is everything. And sometimes, just like when you can listen to everything, if you can make any sound that you want, it can be fucking maddening as well, because it's like, who am I? Mm-hmm. Like, am I just going to strum an acoustic guitar and sing because that's, quote marks, honest? Or am I gonna, do you know what I mean? And I think I haven't felt that as much recently, because I've probably, things that I've really enjoyed listening to actually, but that was like years ago probably, was like the Thundercat album Drunk. I really liked that, which was a surprise, because usually, I mean, I don't even know if it's R&B, but usually contemporary R&B I haven't been that into, but that's generally because I find actually overly pronouncedly soulful vocals and don't touch me, whereas he keeps it pretty. He doesn't quite go there. I thought the production was really cool. But then I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make music like that. That's just going to be funny if I do that. I like Unknown Mortal Orchestra. I like Kurt Weill. So like Kurt Weill, I listen to that and I go, well, you know what? That's just a dude having a jam on a guitar. And and I really like it. And it doesn't seem boring to me. And it doesn't, I mean, it's done, but it doesn't seem like it seems like it has vitality and place in the world. I don't really know what the point is. The point is...
You're not wanting for inspiration, though, when you're writing.
No. It's not. It's more... No, there's lots of shit coming out.
By the fact that you can do anything.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I guess you have to pick a palette.
Pick your battles?
Yeah, well, you're just like a sonic palette of sort. I guess because you're in a band, you're sort of limited to the instruments that you've got, right?
Yeah, but I mean, everyone in the band's over. Like Chris is like, I'll play the keyboards. Our drummer. I'll play drum pads. I'll play a drum machine. I mean, Chris is the kind of musician who you'd probably ask him to hit a piece of meat with a broccoli, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah," and do something.
Get
cool
a sick
with
tone
it.
out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Maybe that's actually possibly been a Phoenix Foundation thing, is that we are not actually necessarily of a particular style. I mean, we are, but we're also not like, it's not like it's indie, or it's not like it's pop. It's not like.
Do you think
it's
that works as in your detriment sometimes?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's not easily classifiable.
Yeah, when you're one of those bands, you have to fight really hard to just become your own thing, and people just know you for being that.
Yeah.
And that's fucking hard to do. And there's so much gamble and fluke and luck and things that can kind of get in the way of that. I don't know. You guys...
No, I think you're completely right. It's easier... It is easier to... I think I've only realized this in the last couple of years. I don't know why. I think I was like a bit more naive and idealist. I think because I was always just after interesting music. I don't give that much of a fuck about the story or, whether the, photos were really great. I mean, obviously it's like you see a band that puts lots of effort into that and they've got a really amazing aesthetic and all that. You appreciate that. But for me, it was always like, if I put it on and I'm like, and I forget about the pain and misery of, human existence, then that's all that I've always cared about. And it took me, I think, a long time to realize that actually, if you actually want success, then like people, that's not actually what kind of what gets most people. Weirdly, I know that the music's still got to have something for. Again, I don't really know what point I'm making, but
no, I'm with you.
I think we were like. Always look quite funny, like we're kind of like a pretty random collection of sort of pretty sort of drab looking middle class white guys, like fuck man. I remember a review in England that was like, despite the fact that they look like a bunch of real ale enthusiasts, bracket face facts boys, this album is great. And it's like, haha. I remember another like review, must have been some organ guy that was like, don't these guys realize that, what was it? Cardigan, the whole cardigan and beard look is done. And I'm like, no, I don't know that look for a band is done, because that's just my fucking cardigan that I was wearing that day, you motherfucker. Anyway, so yeah, I guess we've, that's definitely been to our detriment. In a way.
Yeah.
In a purely like music industry hype, way.
Mm-hmm. But then you said there was 2011, if we go back to then, was there the hype and there was the moment, was the thing going to happen?
Yeah, it really was.
And then what?
I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, I don't mean this in a mean way as well, by the way. I'm just interested in
because
I watched your Jules Holland performance.
Yeah.
What's that, 2011
that's 2011, yeah. It's been a long way down since then, mate. That's the peak of my life right there.
You guys sounded great. It was really, really amazing. But your music's not getting worse at all. Your music's just as excellent.
Okay, so, oh man, how much do I say? Like how deep?
Give it to me, Luke.
How deep and nerdy do you want it? Okay, so in New Zealand, like this is a thing that we learnt as well. In New Zealand, I think you get a level of success, and then almost. At least when we were like, quote unquote, coming up. We released the first album, got good reviews, we sold some albums, we did some touring, we did the second album, and immediately like that whole platform was there and it was ready to like take the next step. Yeah. We took sort of the next step. Pegasus did well. I believe it's platinum in New Zealand, which doesn't mean that many sales, but still.
Something.
And then happy ending, and that's actually probably my least favorite album. But that had like a couple of songs on it that were almost hits. We never really got played on commercial radio. That was a thing. It was never, which is probably part of what you said before. It wasn't easy. It's never been easily categorizable.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're not quite alternative enough to be like really an outsider band, and we're nowhere near mainstream enough to be a mainstream band. So we're in this like weird kind of place where it's like we're just kind of just doing our own shit, as you said. Anyway, and so step by step, that kind of like everything was just kind of building really nice and slowly. Buffalo came out in the UK, got really good reviews. We got just played on 6 Music lots. We got on the A rotate. And it was funny. At the time, I didn't realize that was like fucking great. We're doing real great. And I was just like, oh, we're on the radio in London. Okay, yeah, cool. And then we went there, did lots of radio sessions. Like we went there and just all the shows wanted to have us on their radio sessions. And again, I didn't even think about it at the time, going back to appreciating the moment. Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, this is normal. And then we did the Jules Holland show with Coldplay.
Were they on it at the same time?
Yeah, it was Coldplay at Ryan Adams and the Waterboys.
I don't know the Waterboys.
The Waterboys are like a late 80s huge Irish sort of power folk band. They had this song, I saw the sliver, you saw the whole of the moon. And they were touted as the next U2 at some point. Anyway, they're kind of like a classic British act. You're allowed to say British about the Irish? British and Irish. They're a classic Irish act, excuse me. Someone
United
will come
Kingdom.
after me. Yeah, there you go. Someone's going to come after me. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, and then, I don't know, man, we didn't get any festivals. Don't know what happened there. And then took like over 2 years to make Fandango, and just no songs on Fandango got on the radio. And in the UK, there's just so many bands that, unlike here, where you can kind of bank on coming back to the same level, if you like haven't been touring the shit out of it the entire time.
Could you have done that? And I don't mean that's like it would have been easy, but because
my girlfriend, it was like she was like, I need to do something. I need to do my masters, so she did a masters. I can't remember what Sam's wife did, but Jessica was doing something as well. So it was kind of like we'd gone quite hard in 2011. We could have, but I think mostly just took us a real long time to finish Fandango, and there wasn't anything on there that got on the radio.
Excellent record. Great.
Yeah, but it was a record, eh? It was like it was an album in a time when albums are dying.
A double album.
Yeah.
A ginormous one.
Suicide.
So yeah, and so then it was good, like, though. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it broke my heart, and I became deeply dark and depressed.
Okay.
Like for real. Because I was like pretty much convinced, this is a confessional now, but I was pretty much convinced like we've just done really well in the UK, got great reviews, we sold a reasonable number of albums in 2011, we played on the Jules Holland, whatever. And I was like, cool, man, we'll come back, we'll start doing some festivals. It's great. We can do this every year. And then it just didn't happen. And I was like, oh, you've fucking got to be kidding me. What the fuck was basically my feeling. And I was quite distraught. Mm-hmm. And so then our next album was called Give Up Your Dreams.
Who came up with that title?
Well, it was a Sam song.
Yeah.
Which was,
I feel like he wears his heart on his sleeve a little more in his lyrics. Maybe.
Oh, no, I don't think so. No.
He says more like dark shit, it feels like sometimes, maybe. Maybe you're hiding it in a different way. So then what does that...
But he was actually like, if you actually check it, if you look at Give Up Your Dreams in the way that the song, the way that he was intending it, he's actually saying... he's not actually saying that you should give up your dreams. He's saying you should actually be sweet as with whatever is happening and stop just trying to get the next massive thing. I think it's actually a healing balm, not a...
Yeah, I don't
It's not actually like defeatist. It's more acceptist.
Yeah.
That's a euphemism, eh? Anyway, I thought that was a really great song, and I was a bit fucked off that didn't get played on the radio either. I was like, man, Sam's done a really good...
Not in New Zealand, really? Or where?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably the wrong person to talk, because at this stage, I'm just like, oh, no one plays it. No one played it. Fuck them all. I hate them.
Okay. Fair enough, though. Yeah. It's like...
The vibe... Okay, here's another little confessional. Once, like, a couple of years ago, Sam got accosted by some radio person from a commercial radio station at a music awards, and the guy's like, oh, mate, I've been a fan for years. You guys are a great band. Yeah, I'm just waiting for you guys to put something out, that I can just put on the radio and really get behind. And I think Sam actually just had a bit of a go at him, which was basically like, dude, the fuck are you talking about? You're a fan of the band, but you can't put us on the radio, and you're waiting for us to make something that you can finally make something that you can put on the radio. Like, that's a weird attitude, eh? Is that a weird attitude?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. There's plenty of stuff. You can just find a track off the record, and I mean, there's so many of those stories from the 70s and 80s where DJs broke a band by just picking a song. It's like, this was never going to be the single, but we knew it was a great tune. You guys have got lots of excellent tunes. It's just,
yeah, like every second song's a Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Basically.
Except probably better.
So then how do you feel now? Where are you at with all of it now? You're happy with where you don't care? You're going to keep doing music forever anyway?
Well, I've made sure that I didn't have any other options.
I know. That's why I started podcasting. So I was like, oh, maybe if I interview people that could be something that... Because it's we're going to make money out of making music. Although now every other cunt's got a podcast as well. So, I mean, I'm not doing anything original there. But then everyone's got a band too. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So what's next? Cooking show, I reckon.
Nah,
that's about a year.
Totally
that's done as well now,
That's
you think?
Completely done.
See, there you go. I'm 40.
Apps, everyone was going to make an app that was going to make them rich, but none of that did anything. I'm not too sure. I don't really have a get rich quick.
You want to start playing Fortnite and filming it and doing a YouTube channel?
That's probably on its way out already.
Not if you look at my kids. Holy shit, those YouTubers. Most of them are Aussie too. It's crazy.
Interesting.
There's a house, I think, in Melbourne or Sydney called the Click House, and that's what all the kids are obsessed about, and all of the flatmates at that house have got like hundreds of millions of YouTube followers and shit. They have competitions. Who's going to be the first to 50 million subs? Whoa. Is it going to be Laser Beam or...
have you played it?
Lachlan. I don't like first-person shooters.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is. I haven't seen
it's weird.
Seen it. I've heard about it, obviously.
They play Fortnite and Minecraft. That's like the two biggest games in the world.
They're the ones going off.
Fortnite World Cup, I think the final was in a stadium in New York. Sold out stadium. Winner, won $3 million or something.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I heard about the stadium stuff again. I haven't really seen it. Are you doing scoring things?
Yeah.
Though? That's kind of more the gig now a little bit, or...
Yeah,
just
well,
wait
that's
for Taika to get massive and give you guys some more gigs.
Well, he's already massive. He's just got to give us a gig now,
He's not forgotten you, has he?
I don't know. Hopefully not. Had a beer with him last time he was in Wellington, which was like 6 months ago or something. So we've done some, like, this funny Netflix cartoon which is a cartoon of a video game called Skylanders.
You, Sam, and Conrad?
Yeah, Monica. And that was a challenge because the music's really uncool. And that's an interesting thing that people might not know about scoring, is that it's like exercising a different musical muscle because like when we were working with Taika, he wants really cool shit, and he doesn't
trust you to kind of do what you guys do and know that it will be good.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, I mean, he's also very picky at times.
Yeah, sure.
But and also he doesn't want music that music that's really prescriptive. Like if you're like sitting there and suddenly you feel like you might cry because the strings are rising with so much emotion, and you go, it's fucking
Musical
it's
emotional
fucking with me."
manipulation.
Yeah. So he
That's what
doesn't
the
like
church
that.
is always doing.
Yeah, exactly. With the hip rock music.
Man, pisses me off.
Yeah.
When they're
this
giving the
is weird.
sermon bit about the money and things at the end, and then the emotive piano comes in the background. Yeah.
So anyway, so he doesn't want any of that.
Yeah.
You kind of got to find a piece of music that works for the scene, that gives it the right kind of backdrop, that doesn't take away from the emotion, but doesn't push it. Anyway, that's what working with him is like, and he's really vague. He's vague. He likes to keep you guessing so that you keep working, I reckon. He's like, oh, yeah, man. And you're like, oh, God, okay, I've got to do more. Anyway, when we were working on the show Skylanders, it's a kids' show, 20-minute episodes. And basically it's like fat guy walks, bomb, 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 bomb. It's like the complete opposite. And when you're doing music, which is not music that you'd like want to listen to, or which is just like every single beat that happens on the screen has to be scored, that was actually a challenge. Like doing kind of dorky. First season was just a trial because we didn't really know what the fuck we were doing. But yeah, then it was like we kind of got on a roll and we're just like smashing out cues, and there's like all these massive action scenes, and that's quite fun.
But they're not getting you to do what you guys would do. You're like now musical scoring composer guys, and they just give you the task. Basically.
I think you got to be at a certain level before
the Cave Warren Ellis kind of style. Where you get what they do.
Or what's his old Hans Zimmer?
Yeah,
if you want Hans Zimmer, I'm sure
now you get what you're given. But when he started, he would have been taking orders.
You just got to take whatever job at our level, and then you just got to do whatever the fuck has to happen for that job. It's very different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with Skylanders, it's a kids show. That's fine. It's got to be a bit dorky. It's got to be light. It's got to be fun. And I'm into the challenge.
Yeah.
We've done some feature films, some low budget feature films. We've done a couple of other TV shows. We recently did like actually quite a good dark New Zealand crime drama called The Gulf. And that was cool because we got to do dark sounds for that. Someone said to me, it sounds a bit Mogwai-ish. So that was kind of cool. Did like lots of guitar, like bowed guitar, kind of, get an open tuning and turn the amp up and shake the guitar as evil things happen. And so that shit's cool because our band doesn't necessarily go there sometimes, but it's cool to indulge.
Your other musical muscles, I suppose. So is there other projects and things you have wanted to do that you haven't been able to?
Oh, we've been doing Wellington Paranormal. That was funny too, because they want a parody of like Police 10-7 music. So that's been hilarious because it's basically like every scene change is just going to go doom doom. And then they just want it to be so fucking ridiculous. So that's actually been really fun. Like someone will talk about how it'll be like a ridiculous emotional scene, and they'll actually just want the cheesiest, most horrendous, but like for ironic comedic effect. So that's quite fun, bringing in the strings and the piano with a sense of irony.
Yeah, it's nice to not be making your band's music that has to be a certain, I don't know, there's so much seriousness and...
that has to pass a certain level of critique from the band.
Absolutely.
This is like,
actually have some fun with music.
Or really not fun, as the case can sometimes be too.
Okay.
Deadline tomorrow, they still don't like what we've done for this 5-minute sequence. Better start again then. Yeah.
Do you have any sort of musical ethic when you're writing or when you're producing? Like, you have to have a cool chord.
Oh, shit.
How do you know when you got something decent? And like, what would you...
I find that shit really difficult to put into like the process quite difficult to explain. I think often no, there's no ethic, there's no manifesto really. Sometimes the thing that I find the hardest is to know whether what I'm working on is good or not, or whether I'm just enjoying it because I'm just enjoying making some music.
Space, right?
Sometimes
Set it aside.
Yeah, that's right. Come back to it. Like maybe even just the next day you come back to it and you go,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know.
I find sometimes, but it's 2 months later, and then I go, oh, it was bad. But it takes me 2 months to realize it's bad.
Yeah.
And we've been jamming it for a while.
Yeah.
I hope no one heard it. It's really embarrassing. Like, damn it. But I guess that's good, right? You've got to kind of be into it, because if you didn't, you'd never get anywhere with any of it.
Well, I saw a Facebook status update from one New Zealand's leading Greek New Zealand composer, John Psathis,
Okay.
who composed some of the music for the Athens opening ceremony of the Olympics. He's a cool guy. And it was something like, I'm working on some new music and I know I'm probably delusional about it, but I think it's some of the best stuff I've ever done. Or it was like, I don't know if it's some kind of momentary delusion, but I thought that it's actually important to feel like that about stuff you're working on. And only 2 years later you go, well, that wasn't actually that good. But while you're working on it, it's just like what you said, really. You got to be excited about what you're working on.
Yes.
Because if you're just, okay, you've got to have some critical engagement with it. But if you just think it sucks the whole time, or that it's not good enough.
Are you really hard on yourself when you're...
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not always?
It's quite weird. And I think in the Phoenix Foundation, because there are so many people, and also Sam and Con and I have made music together since we were 14.
You all trust each other?
At times we've trusted each other lots, at other times less. You know, we've actually been together, so I'm 40 and we've been making music together since we were 14. So what's that, 26 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've sort of been through some real shit relationship times, you know. Not like each other very much, or not want to spend time with you, or be a bit annoyed with each other, had enough of each other.
Yeah.
And so we're in a pretty good zone now, I reckon, because we just sort of are just a bit more, the relationships matured, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I guess
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I assume that was the case, where especially if you're doing a new record and okay, you had a little...
Well, it might take some time to find the groove again, to be honest, because we haven't been in the same room making music, but we will. But that's one thing that happens a lot less, I think, in the Phoenix, is deciding that something's shit 2 months later, because it's kind of got to get through. It's got to get through some more people. Mm-hmm. So I'm much more likely to think something is shit 2 months later. That's just my own shit that I haven't really played to anyone else, because I've been holding it close.
Who do you get to help you with that? Do you have a producer?
For my solo shit?
Yeah, if you're doing or anything, it's kind of... I found
exploit
recently...
or I use my wider community of musician friends. Like, I'll occasionally send things to James Mill and Lawrence Arabia and just go. And I remember one time he said, "This is great. Sounds like Barbara Streisand," which was probably one of the greatest things I've ever heard.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird, I guess, if you write a lot of music and you're not always too precious, right? So sometimes, yeah, you kind of need people to tell you what you should be pursuing, I think. Not always, but...
You mean like in the music, or what? Or
well, I guess...
career-wise?
And maybe more in the music than the career-wise necessarily. Like, I write a lot of bits and pieces. Some of them I will use I feel that I am connected to, and I'll use for something for me.
Yeah.
For a band, or show it to the guys, or whatever I'm working on.
Yeah.
And then there's other bits and pieces that are just
I've
stuff.
made this thing.
Yeah. And then I guess those are the ones that you kind of have no opinion on whatsoever. And if someone said, "Oh, that's cool," and you're like, "Okay, well, you can have it if you'd like to," or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually have a point with that. You write a lot of music though. Do you sit at the piano? You get the
Well. Sorry, I just wanted to go back there because when Sarah, my partner, she did a master's in creative writing, and so that was you got to write a novel in a year in the class of 10, and the thing that they would do, they would have. Oh, she also went to art school where they had crit classes, but those were, I think, a bit nasty. Whereas the writing group one, everyone would be given, like each week would be one person's writing where they were up to, and the whole class had to read it and come back with critical feedback. And I thought, like, we never do that, and I'm actually into it. So people would be like, and I guess people would be like, this bit really works, or I'm a bit confused about what Jerry's doing in this, like, why is he actually doing that, whatever, or some of the writing's a bit muddled here. And the thing I think that would be good about that is, at first it might be quite maddening, but you'd probably get to a point where you can pick and choose what you actually take from it. You can go, oh, well, I just don't agree with what they're saying at all. I like that bit that's muddled. And so I'm actually working on a solo album as well as the Phoenix Nation album. And I have sent it to I've sent like a couple of songs to a few people and just gone, this. And sometimes it's because you just want someone to go, yeah, that's great.
Tell me that. Tell me that I'm good.
Yeah. Well, not even tell me that I'm good. More like I'm feeling kind of crazy.
Well, how do you?
Does it all suck? No, it doesn't suck. Oh, thank God.
I think the solo artist, it's pretty difficult. That's why a lot of the time they are kind of a little bit egomaniacal or just a bit psychotic, because
they probably have to be.
You have to be, yeah. And then you got to be in the photos all the time, and you're the person doing the whole thing.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Because I've started doing more of I just put out my second one. Solo one.
Oh, cool.
Working on the third one.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like...
This is my third one, too.
Yeah. It's...
It's been a real long time since the last one. 10 years.
2008, Vesuvius.
That's
Just
right.
listening to it in the car on the way over.
Oh, Jesus.
So good.
Getting in the mood.
Oh, man. I've been deep Phoenix Foundation, Luke Buda, Sam Scott zone for days.
Great.
Yeah, for years.
That's why you're just like looking so healthy. So
all the ear candy. Yeah, but the thought of taking that step as a proper solo artist or whatever, I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I don't know how much, if I will be, or because you gotta. Everyone I talk to who runs their own band, where they're the band leader and it's their name and they're hiring people to play with them, it costs you a fortune. You're dealing with everything. The rest of your band's kind of cavalier, and at least when you're in a band, you're all in it together and you can share the load. One person does the Instagramming, the other person arranges the posters, someone else helps with the mixes or something. Like you delegate the jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Doing it all by yourself.
I know, and I'm not very good at personal admin anyway. There's even a song about that on my solo album.
Is there? Which one's that one?
I don't actually know what it's called yet, but yeah. On this next one, about my lack of personal admin skills. So that's going to be a problem. But I mean, I don't see the Phoenix Foundation splitting up. We're just in New Zealand, like, there's even less work and gigs that you can do than there are in Aussie. Mm-hmm. I say that there's probably quite a bit in Aussie, but possibly not
well, everyone's
quite
going
enough.
to LA.
Yeah,
That's
right.
where I've been spending a lot of time recently as well. It's
right.
like you just keep chasing. And then a lot of the Kiwis have started turning up in LA as well for that reason. Like Matt Eccles is there, Liam's there, Pip's there.
Yeah.
Kind of everyone made that step as well. Just chasing the work, basically.
Well, I mean, I think it's only been recently that I've gone like, wow, it's actually a real advantage to be able to get into the van and without having to go on any flights at all. You can do like 50 gigs.
Yeah.
And you can do that the 2 months later because you haven't spent thousands of dollars on flights. When the Phoenix Foundation tour Europe, we have to take our sound engineer because there's 6 of us. And
you can't teach someone your sound.
But 4 of us
so
have got
many
laptops as well as guitars and shit.
Yeah.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people to fly to Europe from Wellington.
How did Fat Freddy's get away with it?
Well, they played to 10,000 people, man.
This guy's got real huge.
I know.
I think I was thinking about that the other day. I interviewed Moo recently when they played in Melbourne. I went to the show. I really enjoyed it. I think their music connects. There's a lot of people who love dub reggae internationally. They're like, you guys are way weirder. You have the same amount of members, probably. Maybe they got more.
Oh, we're way weirder. Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Musically, like, because of what we were talking about, it's not as accessible in the same way as a band.
They are playing in a established format.
Yeah.
I mean, having said that, they're completely independent and they're huge, having had no radio hits because all their songs are like 11 minutes long. I mean, I guess Wandering Eye got a bit of airplay in New Zealand. I don't know where else, maybe in other places. But most of their songs are like 10 minutes, right?
But they connect with cafe culture and weed smoking and like places all internationally that do
and
that.
Perhaps ex-ravers who want a slower rave, who are smoking pot instead of taking pills.
Yeah. But then, what are you guys? Indie? I don't know. That's
well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
It's a different sort of realm, isn't it? But yeah, that's just again like the music business. I'm realizing more and more that there is no. It's just a total gamble, really. You don't know who's gonna get what when or.
I don't know, like with Fat Freddy's, I don't really know. Like, did they even get much support? I mean, they're kind of pretty triumphant. It's pretty triumphant that they've gotten that
really,
big.
really is. Yeah, definitely. Moose said that they did the Europe thing hard and that they were couch surfing and all of that. I'm not sure sort of for how many years or whatever. And I guess...
I think they were playing... I remember them playing like Brixton Academy pretty quickly after they got to... Which is like 5,000 people or something, right? It's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And then I guess they just haven't... Once that happened, then just go back every single year. Just do it until it gets bigger.
But, yeah, I mean, once you... Look, I don't want to... Don't get me wrong here, but like once you are actually making a profit, then it's just a completely different proposition.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because then, that's actually work. You're going
it's like, okay, let's go and do that gig and everyone's going to get a couple of grand. Rather than, hey, it's costing you $200 per gig to play these gigs. Fuck yeah. Pay to play is a bit rough, eh?
Yeah. I played one of the shittest gigs ever the other night. It wasn't quite pay to play. Cool. It was real bad. It was just a vocal PA. It was like we were in a hallway of sorts. This is my band, All the Colours, my rock band that I play in. And it's fun because we love each other and we like hanging out. But this one was really bad.
Like what was like what the crowd?
Well, first of all, what crowd?
Oh yeah, sorry. The hallway was really.
It was at a venue, but it was not a venue really. It was more of a pub, and we were sort of just tucked in the corner, and people were outside in the bar area, but not many of them, not really watching us. I was getting electrocuted a lot. You know, in the face, your face is getting heaps of shocks.
That's really dangerous. I think, actually, it not only hurts and is scary, but actually is dangerous.
Yeah.
Must be.
It was awful. And I was like, I'm glad I'm going to do a Miami Horror gig in a few weeks. That's going to be like at a real festival.
Nice.
So I can feel
much nicer.
Because this one's degrading. What song do you never need to hear ever again? I can give you some examples.
Of
not yours, just
right.
No, someone else.
Okay, give me some examples.
Well, I have the Tiger, maybe.
Yeah, I've got pretty high tolerance, I reckon. What do I not need to hear again? I think I even like hearing things that punish me. Like the other day, I had this song just came into my head, and I was like, Sarah, you cannot fucking believe what just came into my head. She's like, what is it? And it's like, I'm not a perfect person.
Wait, who's
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck is that? What's it doing in my goddamn head?
Post-emo kind of?
It's Hoobastank.
It's Hoobastank, yeah.
I found a reason to live.
Yeah, that was on SingStar.
And then like, played it to Sarah, and I was like, oh, this song, why is it there? And she's like, this is a Christian song, isn't it? And I was like, oh my God, I think you're probably right. And the reason is you.
Yeah.
Sorry, he doesn't go to falsetto.
No, he
he
powers it. Yeah, you could get there, just not.
Maybe I just don't want to. Anyway,
if
so
the
there you
audience
go.
was there and you were on stage, you would get it that night.
If they wanted me to sing it, I'd do it because I'd do anything for success. I'd even sing Hoobastank.
So there's no one that is played out enough for you. For me, it's the sort of the song that just keeps getting DJ'd everywhere, and you go, okay, guys, we get it. Maybe not need to hear it again, but just ban it for 10 years.
You know what? I actually can't. I can't.
Nothing comes to mind.
No, really, yeah.
That's probably pretty
weird,
good.
eh?
The other one
I mean, okay, on our family holiday recently, my son was obsessed with Bohemian Rhapsody. I could probably do without hearing that for a little while. Like every day when we got into the car, like we were on road trip for about 3 weeks. Every time that we got into the car, he'd pull out the Queen CD, put it in, and we'd listen to Bohemian Rhapsody. And sometimes I'd be like, can we skip Bohemian Rhapsody? No. Can we listen to Killer Queen 50 million times until I have to skip that one too now? No. So potentially Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think maybe it's just got enough magic that I'll just want to hear it next time it comes on. Maybe I'll be drunk somewhere.
That's the sort of one that I'm talking about. Is when everyone's drunk and they go, oh, this one. For me, the biggest one's the Bon Jovi one.
You resent that, do you?
That
feeling of
joy,
human communion.
It's when the gag's done. I think it's the Bon Jovi living on a prayer gag. That's the one that I always say that bothers me.
I reckon Bon Jovi are pretty B grade.
Yeah,
like they're one of those bands where it's like, okay, yeah, they're really big hits. They're kind of shit. I feel a little bit like that.
I feel like that with Guns N' Roses as well.
That one's more difficult for me because that was big for me when I was.
I feel like those songs that the production's coming undone as the years go by. Like the mixes are getting worse.
I still think that Welcome to the Jungle
that one
is pretty sort of a perfect 80s rock song. Is that one that gets played a lot?
No, that one's okay. And the one that's on Terminator 2, You Could Be Mine.
Oh, yeah. So are you talking more like Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine, maybe?
I think it's just I'm hating Axl more and more as well.
Oh, yeah,
and his voice is grating me.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that Slash isn't that great at guitar. Like he's
no, you're fucking crazy. You've gone too far now, man.
Do you think so? I might have.
I mean, he's really good at 80s hard rock lead guitar.
He is. I know. I probably have gone.
My cousin in Poland in the late 90s, first time I went back, said to me, Slash is the best guitarist in the world. And I said, well, I don't really think that you can say that about anyone. And then he went, well, tell me someone who's better.
Angus Young would destroy him.
Yeah, well, Angus Young is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think that's all it was with Slash when I just go, well, the other guys were better. The other
but I don't know. There's like, I'd just be happily listen to Slash do a solo. I'd happily listen to Angus. Happily listen to Jimmy Page. I don't know. I'm not actually that much of a hater, I think.
That's
great.
Well,
maybe I am. I don't know. You've got to be careful when you say shit like that, though, because then later on you go, actually, I totally am a hater. What am I talking about? But no, I reckon I can deal with
I feel like you start
hearing
to grow,
music.
Don't you think you grow out of the hating thing a little more as the years go by? Where you just try not to let it bother you. But I find every now and again I will just go, oh, for fuck's sake. And then just kind of purge it out. And then I'm cool again.
All right. Yeah.
Like,
Fight Club.
Yeah, maybe that's it. When I lived in Wellington, when I was 19 or whatever, that time we were talking about, everyone was...
Haiti time.
Everyone was Haiti. Everyone was like, fuck those guys. They got the gig. Fuck, like the competition.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird, man. There was a heavy scene. And we were all sort of friends, but really competitive, and there was a lot of hating. There was that New Zealand music website. It was like
Music.
Yeah, and Andrew Died I Die would say nasty shit, and then people would come back at him, and just like, there was just this weird energy at the time between everyone. I think everyone's growing out of it now, but then it was intense. And I think it was because my band wasn't doing very well and I had no success. So you're like,
So you were full of...
yeah, absolutely. Blind Spot were on the radio. I'm like, this is fucking shit. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, our new metal song wasn't that much better. Like, it was better, but it wasn't that much better than Blind
Did you
Spot.
guys have the itchy?
No, never had a DJ. No.
Fuck yeah!
I think, yeah, we grew out of the new
Such
metal.
adolescent shit. I mean, I love it. I still, when I hear metal, I still go, yeah, but it is adolescent.
Do you listen?
Actually, probably classic metal has a good different because it doesn't have the angst. Mm-hmm. I think new metal had the angst, whereas if you listen to like Maiden, there's no angst. It's like it's
more triumph, right?
It's more like you're riding into battle,
Yeah,
against
it's
a dragon.
triumphant, It's Valhalla. It's
Yeah,
that
exactly.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
my friend did have a very distful slogan about that kind of new metal thing. He called it "Mummy didn't buy me an Xbox voice."
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it was.
Whereas like the Deftones probably took it to a next level where it was like, because I saw them at the big day out, having not really listened to them, having kind of missed it, having gone out of metal and then hearing everyone talking about the Deftones, and I sort of thought that it was that they had like a level of like tragedy in his singing that was like a slight next level to that, you know. He's
Yeah.
kind of just like,
But that was recently.
I think it was recently. that I saw them.
Yeah. That was the final big day out.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I reckon.
Maybe we even played.
Yeah,
No, we must have played because I don't think I would have gone up
Nah, you're too old.
to a music festival.
Fuck, are you kidding me? Unless you're playing. I don't know if I got any more questions.
Well,
That's-
we've
yeah,
ranted for ages.
Yeah,
so
we have. Yeah.
You're going to edit the boring bits out, eh? Or do you quite like the...
Some of the boring bits are great.
Sure.
One other thing I like asking people is whether they think the planet is going to completely destroy itself and fall apart, and if you worry about that because you have children. And how many keep cups do you have in your house to stop the end of the world?
Oh, do you know that I'm a climate change skeptic, actually? I think it's a conspiracy for supermarkets to make more money selling cloth bags because now they don't give us plastic bags. Yeah, so Greta, mate, she's a puppet, eh?
Which
She's
one's
like,
Greta?
You know, Greta, what's her face? Swedish girl, Thunberg. You
Oh,
know?
the kid.
Yeah. She's a puppet, mate. She's corporate puppet, bro. Whoa. Yeah, she's looking after CIA interests. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think about that shit a lot, and I kind of feel like the only way I can deal with it is by not thinking, like, because I don't really see how things are going to change. Honestly, I don't understand how we're going to turn shit around. And so the only way I can sort of deal with it is applying a kind of a double think. I think a lot of us potentially are applying a bit of a double think where we like realize that everything's going to hell, but we still just kind of got to try and carry on and enjoy life. And like a craft beer or a whiskey, you know, and some nice, real ale, like get enthusiastic about real ale. I don't know, like...
Play music?
Yeah, play music. Like, think about how I'm bummed out that I'm not playing more festivals, you know, at the same time as thinking, man, in about 10 years, I'll be lucky if there's even any, you know. I don't know, yeah. So, yeah, I'm worried, and I guess it's actually kind of cowardly that I just try not to think about it too much, because maybe it's because I'm not actually sure that personal responsibility is what is going to do it. I think actually a massive paradigm shift from up on high. It's actually got to be governmental. It's actually got to be regulations. It's actually got to be the corporations have got to get their fucking act together. And it's not about keep cups or if you get compostable cotton earbuds. Because
I think that's
it's great that you do that. And I don't want to belittle people for doing that.
It's just to mitigate your own guilt at least, so you go, well, I'm at least not putting the bad shit out there as much as possible, right?
Yeah. But
I know what
we
you
still
mean.
get on planes. We still drive cars, right?
Absolutely.
Because we're just pieces of shit, man.
And when you got to go on tour, bro. So then where does playing music fall into it? It's doing good for the people, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, like I said before, like I ain't got no other options anyway. Like that's another thing I think about. Like, what's everyone going to do? It's not enough jobs. At the moment, everything's getting more automated. Like,
You make sure you
do you think there are going to be as many design jobs as there are design students right now? And like, what are you supposed to say to all those starry-eyed young people? Forget it, mate. You know?
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I know that sounds really dark, but I'm actually just like going, well, you actually can't take. You shouldn't be taking that shit. Oh my God, here we go. You shouldn't be taking the young people's hopes and dreams away, should you? With harsh, like, let them get to 40, and then they can
figure it out for themselves.
That's right. They can feel all of those wonderful emotions.
You wouldn't tell anyone to not be in a band or do music or anything like that, never, eh?
Probably I wouldn't. No, I'd just say to them, "Hey, you're not really going to make any money."
It's been real fun though.
Yeah, at times.
Would you trade it?
Sometimes my mum hears my music in a cafe, and so she texts me. Mm-hmm. So those are like highlights, of life.
Do you hear it in the cafe?
No. Bit of a pity.
I
dream of the moment that I walk into the cafe and they're playing, and I'll just be like, "Hey, everyone,
you made it.
This guy
gotta start a new band with young people, and you're in the background hiding behind them, like Damon Albarn would do or something."
Yeah, right. I just pull the strings.
Yeah, maybe that's the way out.
But they probably know. They probably got their finger on the pulse more anyway.
Yeah, no.
I do have a couple. Yeah. Anyway, I've got a couple of dance hits.
Really?
Yeah, they're hiding. I'll sing them to you once this is.
Yeah, well, I think for a couple of dance hits up his sleeve. Look out. Thank you, Luke. It was so great to sit down and chat. Felt like I've known him for ages. It's kind of like that with Kiwi musicians. I guess it's pretty easy to connect. You usually have a bunch of friends in common, and there's just a homely familiarity. So yes, get on board the Phoenix Foundation bandwagon if you aren't already, obviously. I've made a playlist I've included as a link in the podcast description of some of my favorite tunes of theirs. I've also put a link to a few videos, including the one for the song Give Up Your Dreams, which we talked about, which features their friend Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords. Now I'm going to be back in a week with part 2 of the Phoenix Foundation extravaganza and my interview with Sam Scott. Until then, if you could do me a favor, give the podcast a review or a follow, like and subscribe, all that bizzo. And I think we're done. Right on. Thank you so much. See you very, very soon. Take care and be nice to each other. Bye-bye.